Coach, how did you feel about this past weekend's draft? Any surprises as far as some of your guys getting drafted, Trey Mason and Greg Robson going into St. Louis, or some of your former players?
Yeah, first of all, very excited, for all of our guys that got drafted. Greg going number 2 overall, that was very special to be in New York with him and experience that with him and his family. Of course, D Ford going to Kansas City, great football player. He'll do very well. And of course, Trey going with Greg to St. Louis, I think that's real special. I know both those guys are excited. Then Jay Prosh going to Houston, and I think that offense will really fit him well. So, all 4 of those guys are excellent football players, but they're even better people, and they'll represent, Auburn and their families extremely well at the next level.
Do you end up having a little bit more conversation with St. Louis just because Les is, an Auburn guy and?
It really didn't happen that way. I mean, he is an Auburn guy, and Coach Fisher's son played for us, but we really just kept it professional. And they both those guys earned it, and I know they're fortunate to have both those guys.
Talk about Cody Burns getting hired as running backs coach at Samford. He was a grad assistant under you. I mean, what do you think about him as a coach?
Yeah, well, Cody Burns got a bright future. At this level, he's got an excellent mind to be a coach. He played for me in this offense. He went with me to Arkansas State, back to Auburn. He'll be very successful in college football.
With recruiting as hot as it's been for y'all lately, what's the spring and summer looking like for you?
Yeah, it's very important. Things are going extremely well right now. We've got a lot of momentum, coming off the season we had, and then you couple that with the staff we have, and you couple it with Auburn. The future's very bright, and I think players can see that. And so we've got a big summer ahead, and getting ready for the fall.
Big Cat Weekend kind of kicks that off, right? Well,
Yeah, Big Cat Weekend, we're really looking forward to that. We've had great success in the past with that, getting a lot of top guys, and I think this year will be no different.
Coach, there's been talk, I know, about in the past about an early signing period. Do you think that will happen, and if so, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I really don't have too much of an opinion on that. I'd be surprised if that does happen. There's pluses and minuses of everything, but I'm okay with the way things are right now.
Any thoughts on Michael Sam getting drafted this past weekend, first NFL openly gay player to get drafted in the NFL? Some mixed reviews. Some people say they're behind him. Some people are saying, hey, I'm not necessarily sure about that. Just want to kind of hear your views.
All
on
I know is he's an excellent football player, and between him and Coney Ely going to the SEC championship game, there was a lot of stress involved. We tried to stay out of third down and 6+ situations because they were at their strength when they knew it was pass. And he's an excellent player, and Coney Ely is too.
You got 2 guys. Your 2 underclassmen obviously got drafted very high.
Yeah.
But what do you tell? But there are 30 that didn't get drafted.
Yeah.
When you're having those conversations with your players, what do you tell them about making the decision to enter the draft early?
Yeah, well, hopefully you recruit players that have that opportunity, that are talented enough to do that. And, each individual is different, and always just try to be as honest and fair to each player. And if that's what's best for them and their family, then we're all for it. And in Greg and Trey's case, we were 100% behind that, and they were both ready. They did a great job for Auburn, and they'll be very successful in the NFL.
Talking a little bit more about recruiting, I know you've gotten some commitments from guys within the state, and especially in North Alabama. How important is it to you to keep recruitments coming from within the state?
Yeah, well, first of all, that's where recruiting starts, here in Alabama. And, so we'll continue that. We've said that since day one, since I was hired. And, of course, Georgia also being a key to our recruiting.
Given that it's your second year and you're more adjusted to being the head coach at Auburn and partnering that with your success from last season, what kind of changes are you going through as the head coach this year?
Yeah, well, we're very fortunate we have all of our assistants back, and so that transition is very comfortable. We know each other very well. We've been together a year and a half, and so it's very comfortable, and we're looking forward to fall camp and what this team can do next year.
Coach, with these guys are committing earlier and earlier. As soon as you get a class signed, everybody starts focusing on the next class.
does that make it just more hectic for you guys when the recruiting's good?
Well, you know, once you develop relationships, and you know, you got to do your homework, and you know, I think recruiting gets earlier and earlier, you know, every year, and that's just where it's at right now. And so, you just got to be aware of that, and your evaluations need to be correct. But that's just part of the game right now.
How do you specifically see the North Alabama area future recruiting wise? I mean, is it something? I mean,
Yeah, I think you know, if you look at even last year, you know, we thought that was very important this year, and you know, there's a lot of good football players around this area, and so we're very committed to North Alabama. We're very committed to the state of Alabama, and we'll continue to show that.
Coach, talk about Nick Marshall. I think last year he came in and had to learn the offense and look the kind of season he had, and now I'm at great expectations I know for him this year.
Well, first of all, what Nick did last year is really unbelievable. Not going through spring, learning the offense, you know, in games, and against some very good defenses, and you know, so he was very comfortable in the spring. You know, he understands what we're doing a lot better, so hopefully that'll equate, you know, into playing better, you know, on Saturdays. Anything else?
Now that the semester's over, do you expect any roster movement at all? Or
You know, next week I'll have a better grip on that, and we'll see.